JP poll, week 9, it is here. The paper is still hot. That's how fresh it is. This is not rankings. This is power ratings. Why do I do this? You guys know. And those of you who don't know, you're probably not listening anyway at this point. Point being, this is going to sound a whole lot different than the AP poll because this is about neutral field favorability. I mean, Washington last year never cracked the top 5 for us, and they went to the national title game, and yet we were right about Washington. We were just wrong about Washington. I hope that made sense. Okay, let's go. Ohio State is still our number 1 team. So the model would favor Ohio State against anyone on a neutral field right now. There's the casual Carl. We open the door. Yes, casual Carl. Excuse me, Ohio State just lost to Oregon last week. How could they be ahead of Oregon? Well, because Ohio State would be a 2.5-point favorite over Oregon if they played right now on a neutral field. Well, that's just your opinion, bro. No, we confirmed it with FanDuel. Carl, where you going? There goes casual Carl. So Georgia's number 2. Oregon's number 3. Texas down to number 4. Clemson is at number 5. Quick note, Georgia versus Texas has seen some movement, predictably. Georgia, the model would currently favor by 4 against Texas on a neutral field. So what did that line close at, like 5, Jesse? Georgia was an underdog against Texas in their building. That's swung fairly significantly based on the outcome. We'd favor Georgia by 4. We got Ohio State -9 against Penn State on a neutral field. Ohio State will play at Penn State next week. And I mentioned Penn State because we don't have them in the top 5. We're a little bit lower on Penn State than the AP is. So let's move along, and I'll show you where Penn State is. Miami is at 6. Poor defense, excellent offense. It is a year of flawed teams. That's why Miami can be that high. We'll see where they go from here. Ole Miss is at 7, heavily detached from the AP. The model is still quite high on Ole Miss. But the caveat there that we cannot factor in predictability is the team still all in? They play this weekend, I think Oklahoma. But if they're still all in, then that'll be a dogfight for Georgia down the road. If they're not, then it's a very winnable game for Georgia. It's winnable anyway, but it becomes very winnable. And we're very wrong about Ole Miss. So if they're still all in, I'm confident that Ole Miss, power ratings-wise, is at least a top 10 team. We'll see. Penn State, we're a little detached from the AP poll. Not terribly. We've got Penn State at number 8 right now. I'll just quickly tell you, Jesse, where does the AP have Penn State? Number 3? Okay, so we've got Penn State. I mean, we've probably got them. There's probably about a 4.5-point gap between our number 3 team and our number 8 team. So it's not that huge. Tennessee is at 9. I don't think that's Tennessee's ceiling. So if we saw the offense click into place, if we see consistency in the passing game from Tennessee, they can be a top 5 team. Tennessee's extremely dangerous. If their offense and the explosivity in that offense catches up with the ground game and the defense, that team can be a top 5 team. Don't give up on them. LSU, same thing. LSU, I don't think they've hit their ceiling yet. Total wild card team. Right now, if we put LSU versus Georgia, neutral field, we'd favor Georgia by 11.5. Just to give you an idea of the gap there. Moving along, number 11, we've got Notre Dame. Bama is down to number 12. A&M is at 13. Iowa State's at 14. We've got Bama -3 versus Iowa State if they played today in football. And Indiana is at 15. Now, I need to tell you, Indiana's at 15 with Rourke still at quarterback because he's going to miss one game. We have not knocked Indiana down. If he was out for the season, we would. So this is with their quarterback, their number 15. Moving on, 16 is Kansas State. 17 will just blow people's minds. Florida, we think, is a really good team right now. This is not about what their record is. It's not about what they have done. It is about here and moving forward, future predictability, neutral field. We had them 24th last week. They were an underdog to Kentucky. We made them one of our best bets. They blew Kentucky out. So it does not matter if they lost a game in week 1. It matters what they are now. We think they're a top 20 team right now. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. I think they're off this week. So most people don't think Florida is this good, period, which is okay. But they're also going to play some teams ranked ahead of them or power rated ahead of them in the coming weeks. If they lose to Georgia in Jacksonville, but it's around what the spread says it should be, Florida's not falling. If they lose, who else they play? They play Texas, I think. If they lose to Texas, roughly in par with what the spread says or they cover, they're not falling. So my point is Florida could lose a few more games here, and if they play in line with what the model thinks they should do, they're probably not going to fall. Now, if they get blown out, that's a different story. If they quit, that's a different story. Wisconsin is number 18. Notice they play Penn State Saturday. They're less than a touchdown favorite, by the way. Penn State less than a touchdown favorite. So we'll see if Wisconsin's real or not. SMU is at 19. One of our best bets of the week is SMU at Duke. And USC is down 5-20. Same question here. If I know that USC is still all in, this is about where they should be. In neutral field favorability terms, they should be about at 20. They've got some close losses. This isn't a ranking, it's a power rating, so they're not falling off a cliff because they're losing close games. Having said that, if the team's not all in, then there's no floor. They could fall precipitously. We don't know where they are yet on that front. Boise is at 21. Virginia Tech is back. Virginia Tech has jumped up 6 spots. They are number 22. Right now, Clemson would be a 13-point favorite according to the model against Virginia Tech on a neutral field. Clemson goes to Virginia Tech in a few weeks. So we would make that one around Clemson -9, Clemson -10. Louisville is 23rd. Iowa falls to 24. South Carolina is power rated 25th in the JP poll. And because many of you will want to know, Brigham Young did not move. They are number 30, despite the fact that they are undefeated and they should be ranked where they are in the AP. These are power ratings, and there certainly are several teams that would be favored against Brigham Young if they played neutral field today. That doesn't matter because they keep winning. But I've explained what this is many times to you guys, so you either get it or you don't, or appreciate it or you don't, and it's fine either way. So there you go. That's your number 1 through 10. Ohio State number 1. We look all the way down there. There are a lot of SEC teams up there. Logic tells us not all these SEC teams are making it in the playoff. At least that's what logic tells me.